SoCal Prep Report. I'm Randy Rosenbloom. We're going to be hosting another individual tonight on our show. We're going to have Tony Moskal join us momentarily. Tarek Fattal of the Daily News is out of town this week, so Tony via the Zoom will be with us shortly. But I do want to talk about a game or two, and then we'll get to Tony. Mater Dei and St. John Bosco have apparently separated themselves from the rest of the pack when it comes to Southern California football. You know, Mater Dei had played two nationally ranked teams in succession on the road. They go to Corona Centennial after beating Bishop Gorman the week before on the road in Las Vegas. And this football team, Bruce Rollinson has, is just terrific. They stormed through the Huskies 43-20. They didn't have any issues. Marcus Brown caught 3 touchdown passes. Elijah Brown is now 20-0 as the starter. So Mater Dei is just showcasing their muscles. They're defending their state and national title and Southern Section crown. As for St. John Bosco, they hammered Bishop Amat in a game that wasn't close. Amat's got a terrific team, but Amat just clobbered them 42-7. So those teams have separated from the pack. I don't know if we appreciate them all that much because we take them for granted. And really, those two schools in Bellflower and Santa Ana are doing a fabulous job. But there's a lot of other good schools. Chaminade's off to a terrific start in the Valley. In a moment or two, we're going to talk to their head coach, David Machuca, talk about his Eagles and their flying start. But I do want to bring in Tony Moskal. Tony's going to join up with us now from his car on his way from his class where he was teaching. He's going to go home, get back online with us, and then we'll go through a few things. Tony, how are you tonight? I think Tony has frozen in his car. Well, Tony was lucky enough to do the Long Beach Poly game last week. Long Beach Poly defeated Mission Viejo. Mission Viejo was the favorite there. And Poly got a late drive, scored in the final minutes. Samples rushed it in and won the game 35-30. I see Tony now. I don't know if Tony can hear me, but Tony was able to call that game and was there and saw that tremendous drive by Long Beach Poly, and the Jackrabbits remain unbeaten and look like a football squad now that'll end up in the D1 championships later in the year. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, the way Mater Dei and St. John Bosco are playing, but it was a great win for Long Beach Poly. It was off to a wonderful start, and I guess the banter going around Southern California is Long Beach Poly is back. So that was a huge game as well. In the city section, San Pedro, talk about separation. They look like the best team so far. These are some of the key games for last week. You can see that the Pirates knocked off Venice 20-7. It was 20-0. Venice got a late touchdown there. Roman Sanchez had 117 yards and a score for San Pedro. Terrific running back. Love the way he is performing. So San Pedro's unbeaten. They've gone through some very good opponents early. They look like they're going to win a lot of football games this year. And right now, they're the #1 seed in the city, if it would all end now, and it's very early, of course. Birmingham, the 2-time Open Division champions in the L.A. City section, off to a sluggish 0-3 start, but they're playing the heavyweights of the Southern section, including Chaminade, so who knows how good Birmingham may be at the end of the year. You heard Jim Rose on our show last week say they're a very, very young team. And Franklin is outstanding. The Panthers really throw the football well, and you can see they beat La Cañada 44-22. They're undefeated. I like the way the Panthers are playing. They score a lot of points. They're an exciting team, so they're a football team that's making some noise in the L.A. City section. We're having a little bit of technical issues with Tony until he sets up, so let's now bring in the head football coach at Chaminade. That's David Machuca. David's football team is 3-0. David, good evening.
Good evening, Randy. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming aboard. We sincerely appreciate it. All right, you're 3-0. Obviously, you're pleased with that development. How good are your Eagles?
I think we keep getting better each and every week, So for me, I think, we have a lot of senior leadership. We have 4 returning offensive linemen. Our defense is just playing lights out. I think, if we just continue to keep getting better each and every week, the sky's the limit for this team.
All right, everyone's talking about the heat in Southern California. We may get some rain this weekend. but you had a practice at 6:30 in the morning earlier this week to try to beat the heat. Did the kids respond to that? Did they like getting up that early to come to a high school football practice?
You know, I was a little worried about what the response would be when I brought it up to the kids, but they were really excited about it. The just the energy was awesome at practice throughout. You know, unfortunately, it's not something that we can do all of the time because of school and that sort of thing. So it's not something that could always work out. But, you know, for this Wednesday, I thought practice was great.
Now, you got Crespi tomorrow night. You're a very heavy favorite. I know you're going to give me the coach's line. You never know. But this is a football game, and I know you're on the road in Encino, that you should win handily, correct? If you execute, this should be a win for your Eagles.
Yeah, I think if we execute and we go out and do what we worked on all week, then we should come out victorious. You know, I told the guys, you know, long ago, you know, and we've just been talking about continuing to get better and, you know, doing our job and not necessarily worrying about everything else, the outside, what everybody's saying, should we win, shouldn't we win, just worry about our job. And that's kind of the workmanlike approach the kids have taken and the coaches as well.
We see that Tony Moskal's entering his house and should be available momentarily. Coach, I'll ask you one more question. You know, Ed Croson, before we get Tony involved, Ed Croson was a longtime coach at Chaminade, led him to a state title, a great program. What's it like taking over for Ed Croson? Are you guys still close? What's that relationship like for you?
We're close. I mean, I spoke to him today. We probably talked 2, 3, 4 times a week. You know, the foundation that Coach Croson built, I'm just trying to build on top of it. You know, I can't thank him enough for the mentorship that he's given me. And he's very much a part of this program still today. I mean, he was at our Birmingham game. He was at our J. Sarah game. He would have been at the Oaks Christian game, but he was fishing. I know he's enjoying that right now. He sends me a picture of him fishing every Sunday and says, yeah, I don't miss the film.
I miss Tony Moskal. We finally got him on board. Tony, how are you tonight?
It's this traffic that people are getting in my way while I'm trying to join your show. It's infuriating.
I think I felt I missed you and I couldn't get you on the air.
Well, here I am.
About that.
Here I am.
You have a question for the coach?
Yeah, I do, Coach. You know, you come into the season, you look at your schedule. You guys have played Oaks, you know, the last several years, you know, opening week. You know, you get J. Sarah. What were your thoughts going into the season? Did you ever think in your wildest dreams you guys would be 3-0 right now?
In my wildest dreams, I'm going to say yes, I thought we'd be 3-0. But in reality, you know, I knew that it was going to be a challenge, you know, me being a new head coach, but also being a part of the program for a while. I think it's been a pretty seamless transition for everyone, including the players and the coaches. But yeah, I mean, credit to the kids. I mean, they worked their butt off since January. You know, as I mentioned, we have a lot of seniors on the team. We have 4 returning offensive linemen up front, our running backs returning. So in my wildest dreams, of course, you know, I would say that would be pretty crazy to think we're 3-0, beat a Trinity League school, which we've never done in school history. So yeah, I mean, obviously I'm very excited about it, but at the same time, I would say I'm pretty surprised.
And
wait a minute.
how?
Tony, I got to interrupt here for one question.
Go.
Not only did you beat a Trinity League team, you came from 21 down, 21-0 to do it. In your wildest imagination, could you ever imagine coming from 3 touchdowns behind and winning a game like that against a Trinity League opponent?
No, I didn't think we could be down 21 points against a Trinity League opponent and come back. But I did feel after the score, after halftime, I did think we had a chance, especially since we got the ball coming out at halftime. I felt that we had a little bit of momentum building after the touchdown. I felt if we could get into the end zone, get within a score, I did think we had a chance to win the ball game. And, you know, fortunately, the kids kept believing, and we made plays when we needed to.
And Coach, now you got Crespi this week. Like Randy said, they're down, they're struggling a little bit. How much have these did the Oaks game and the J. Sarah game prepare you for what is a tough league which just got very tougher with the addition of Sierra Canyon.
Yeah, I think both of those games, they both had very good elements that I think we're going to be able to grow on. And one of them was we had a 17-point lead, and, we ended up beating Oaks Christian by 7. So, we had to kind of fight through that and make sure we didn't lose the lead. Then we had a game the following week where we're down 21 points, and the kids continue to fight and come back and won the game. I think those are invaluable experiences for our team, and I think they're going to, especially traveling to Bishop Amat, that's not an easy place to play. You're not you're going to have, 3,000 people probably against you that night. So, I think that adversity is going to help us.
And then you throw in Sierra Canyon coming into the league. It's good thing, bad thing for the league. I mean, they're kind of like that outlier that nobody really wanted to play. They couldn't find a league. They find one. Were there mixed emotions with them coming into the league, or were people like, it just got a lot more difficult?
Well, I can't really speak for what everybody else thought about them coming in the league, but I love it. I mean, they're right down the street. They should be in the league. Coach Ellinghouse does a great job over there. I think it's only going to create bigger rivalries throughout the San Fernando Valley and make the Mission League stronger. So I'm all for it. I think the kids have to compete one way or another. So why not have them in the league and, settle it out on the field, and you don't have to worry about, hey, are we better than them or are they better than us? We'll find out where everybody stands every single year.
A little bit, we're going to have Aldo Parral on. He's the head coach of Roosevelt in the city section. They're off to a 3-0 start. They run this crazy wing tee that nobody could stop. So, David Machuca, you're at Chaminade. If you had to play a wing tee team, how do you slow down a Roosevelt type of offense?
Squeeze down the down blocks. Hopefully everybody stays in a gap. Don't run up field, because then they're going to trap you. It's not easy. We had to actually play Cathedral Catholic last year, and when that thing gets rolling, it's tough to stop. So congratulations, Coach, on his start.
I know you know how to showcase your defensive team, their abilities to stop the wing tee. How do you fix the Rams, who got dominated tonight by the Bills 31-10? Maybe you should take McVay's job as well.
No, I'm sure Coach McVay will get them right next week. There's no doubt in my mind.
A little bit with you. But, Coach, thank you very much. Terrific start at Chaminade. I think you're a great successor to Ed Croson. Your football team's obviously responding to you. I think you'll get it done again tonight. You have a tremendous chance down the road to get to the highest playoff. It might not be too much fun playing the likes of Mater Dei or St. John Bosco, but tremendous start for your Eagles, and congratulations and continued success.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, Randy. Thank you. Tony, have a nice night.
All right, good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Tony, before I bring in Aldo here and talk about Roosevelt football, you were on the road there. I wanted to get your thoughts on that final Long Beach Poly drive last week to pull out the game against Mission Viejo. I watched your call. I thought you did a very nice job. You kind of understated everything, and I love the way you did the ball game that way and let the game play itself out and just came up with the real key notes when it counted most. From my observation of your call, I was really impressed with Poly's maturity on a late drive like that. Your thoughts?
I agree, Randy. You look at the quarterback, Darius Curry. He's just a very solid quarterback. He had to deal with a lot of adversity this year because Nico Iamaleava, who was at Warren last year, was a freshman at Poly, decided to come back to Poly. And then Darius was the guy. All of a sudden, the rug gets pulled out from under him, and now he's not the guy anymore. And then Nico transfers back to Warren. Now Darius is the guy. So he was kind of on a yo-yo there. Am I the starter? Am I not the starter? And Coach Barbie said to me, he wears number 1 for a reason because he wants to be the one. He took charge of this team. He got hurt last year, immediately started rehabbing, came back really strong this year. And that last drive was just a testament to his maturity. But now let's credit the guys around him. Jason and Jaden Robinson, The transfer from Bosco, number 5, I think his last name is Brown. He had Samples. You've got the weapons around him to allow, receivers to break free, allow the running game to be effective, because you have to respect so many things on that offense. And then, oh, by the way, if there's some open space, he's definitely going to take advantage of that and pick up yards.
All right. Your thoughts? Is Long Beach Poly the third best team in the CIF Southern Section, Tony?
I don't know yet. I don't want to say yes or no. I know that they will definitely dominate their league because they have for the last 30 years. I think they're probably a top seed Division II team. Can they make some noise in Division I? I think with the athleticism of their receivers, they can hang for a half. But I think, just like everybody else has alluded to, Bosco and Mater Dei are at a different level. And the different level is not your first string guys, it's the depth. They're going to run 7 D1 guys at you from the defensive line. They're going to run 6 D1 guys at you from the linebacker. And, oh, by the way, they've got 8 D1 guys in their secondary. So, when those guys get tired, you just, throw in a fresh guy that's going to, the University of Washington or, wherever. They're just that much more talented.
Well, we're going to throw in a fresh guy right now, Aldo Parral, who's the head football coach of the Roosevelt Rough Riders. He's doing a terrific job. He got a lot of notoriety last year when they finally knocked off Garfield, who had been giving him a headache for the last decade, and Aldo's got it going. He runs the wing tee. He's a fun guy to talk to, and we bring him in now. Aldo, really a terrific start for the Riders, huh?
Yes, it is, Randy, and thank you for having us on. Really appreciate you always giving an opportunity to City football.
My pleasure. All right, I just had the coach at Chaminade, Coach Machuca, try to stop your wing tee. How come it's so successful? Why is it so difficult for high school teams to try to bottle up your offense?
Well, Randy, it's the double wing offense. It's a cousin, I guess you could say, of the wing tee. I think, our offense is based on the principles of Don Markham, who passed away just a couple of years ago. And he is the double wing. And I think one of the reasons why the offense may be difficult to stop, one, I believe that it's not something that coaches see every week. Everyone's throwing the ball. So just by the sheer nature of seeing spread, pretty much the whole season, now you get a team that is running the ball at you and is, so compact, and we hide that. I think when you have that, it makes it tough. Plus, you only got 3 days, right? You got 3 days to get ready for us, and that, I think, gives us a distinct advantage. So I think that's a big factor. Everyone's throwing the ball, and, I was talking to somebody asked me, too, like, why do you run it so much? And I said, well, we don't have the biggest guys. I'm not Chaminade, right? If we were Chaminade, had some big folks, they're good. But well, we got a bunch of guys that look like Eric Sonheimer, and that's pretty much who I got to go with.
There. So, Tony, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm trying to listen to Coach. I think he's breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, and how breaking up is hard to do.
Yes.
So we'll see if we can get the coach back here momentarily. And while we do that, since we're talking City Section football, the City Hall of Fame announced its 2023 class. There's a lot of good guys going in. That's going to be an exciting development. Their induction ceremony will be next April 16th in the Valley. The biggest name there, Tony, to go in my mind, is Wesley Walker, the great wide receiver from Carson High School, who went on to star with the New York Jets. He was a phenomenal football player. He's now living in Arizona. As the coach gets reset up, we'll get him back in a moment. So, Tony, a comment on being a Hall of Famer like Wesley Walker, and he was a great football player, but it's great to get in the L.A. City Section Hall of Fame.
Well, I think the L.A. City Section, Randy, when you go back and you look at the history and the athletes and some of the talent that came out of that city section. And you know, those old Banning Carson teams, the amount of talent that was on those teams. You know, you looked at Dorsey and Crenshaw and just the ridiculous talent that those teams had. And when you look at it and you think, oh, wow, that guy went there, that guy went there. Whoa, I never knew that. And to see them, you know, get into the Hall of Fame, any Hall of Fame is special to get into. And I remember watching Wesley Walker, great receiver. Poor guy had to play with the Jets, who were one of the most poorly run franchises in any major sport. I think they and the Cleveland Browns rival each other. But what a heck of a receiver he was.
It really was great. A couple of great baseball players of past are going into that Hall of Fame next year as well. I mentioned Larry Durker, who was at Taft, Renee Latchman, who coached in the major leagues for a long time with the Angels, and they're going in as well. Tim Hovland, the great volleyball player, he's going to go in. Mike Seifer's a big-time college basketball referee now, who was a great basketball star in his own right at Canoga Park and Cal State Northridge. Just some of the names that are going in. Okay, so we got Aldo Parral back in. He's going to tell me why Roosevelt's a threat to San Pedro and the rest of the teams in the LA City section. Aldo, why are the Riders dangerous this year come playoff time? Aldo, your audio's off. Well, we're not hearing you. There we go. Now we're going to learn why they're going to be so good in the playoffs. Hopefully he can figure this out in the next 7 minutes, because we're going to end the show in about 7 minutes. But this has been one of those nights, Tony, where you know when you're doing shows like this, remotely, you never know if things are going to operate on the up and out. And at least we got a nice frozen picture of head coach Parral.
I'll tell you this, Randy, that a lot of guys that have to coach against a team like Aldo, where you run that wing T, where you run, the old triple option or stuff. One of the things that offense predicates itself on is misdirection and getting guys to go where the ball isn't. Somebody told me a long time ago, what you do is you practice, you run their offense without a football. So nobody's getting the ball, so you don't guess who's got it. You just go and fulfill your responsibility. So if I know I have this responsibility, I go there every single time. If I see this type of action with the offensive line, I go here every single time. And you just drill it into them. And then hopefully on Friday nights, when they actually introduce the football, your kids are still doing their jobs.
No question. It's built on deception. All right. Tomorrow, Roosevelt's got to play Dorsey. That's a dangerous game. Stephon Johnson, their former great running back, is the head coach at Dorsey, trying to bring the Dons back. That'll be entertaining for Roosevelt. They'll be tested. You talk about storied programs. There's one of them in the Dorsey Dons.
Oh, absolutely it is. When and I'm a Southern section guy, but when you talk about city football, you can't not talk about Dorsey, Crenshaw, Banning, Carson, Birmingham, Venice, San Pedro. That's the class of the city section. And when you look at guys like Stephon Johnson, wearing that green and white for all those years and then going on to USC. Yeah, those schools used to be a pipeline to SC and UCLA.
We try Aldo one more time. He looks good. I got him in a monitor here. Let's see if we can hear Aldo Parral of the Roosevelt Rough Riders. Coach, are you there? The point is this. I wanted to hear the response on how he was going to handle Dorsey tomorrow, but for whatever reason, the audio is not clicking in tonight. We got a bug in the system. So I'll go back to you, Tony. I know you're going to be covering a big game. You mentioned Warren. You mentioned Sarah earlier. That's the game you're going to be at. Tell us a little bit about Nico, the big quarterback at Warren, and what you expect in that game tomorrow. That's a game that Sarah really needs if they're going to have a great year. They got to knock off Warren.
Well, remember they started out 1-3 last year as well. They end up winning a state championship. But, outside of this young man's talent on the football field, which is undeniable, Kevin Pearson was telling me some stories about him when they were in Hawaii, they went to the beach, right? And then, there's kids playing football. There's a flag football game going on. And Nico walked over and, kids see him. They know who he is. He's signing autographs for the kids, taking pictures with the kids. Not just all taking a picture with all the kids, every single kid individually. They had a freshman football game against Lucerna, and a couple of the Lucerna kids came up and said, "Hey, can we take our picture with you?" He took a picture with every single one of those kids and signed an autograph for every single one of those kids. And Kevin Pearson says, outside of his talent on the football field, he is such a tremendous, humble, kind young man. And yeah, throw in the fact that I think he's the best quarterback in California, So, and I get to see him on Friday night.
Well, that'll be a treat for you. Now, before we leave, I think we should talk about a game that was played up north. Serra of San Mateo, that's Tom Brady's old school, knocked off De La Salle. People call him De La Salle. I always refer to him as De La Salle because they give everyone else on defense a headache because they're so good. But this is for the first time in 3 decades they've lost 3 games in a year. 2 last year and 1 this year to start the season. They could overcome it. They could come all the way back and knock off Serra and Folsom up north. But this is a big development to see De La Salle fall early in the year up north, and that impacts the entire state.
Well, you're looking at a program, Randy, that won 156 games in a row. There was that they walk out on the field and they're already up a touchdown. And I don't know what's going on up there, but maybe people have caught up to it. Maybe kids are not, maybe they're going to other schools. Maybe, I don't know what it is, but you can't be on top forever. You get to that mountaintop and it is so difficult to stay there. And they've been one of the top programs in the entire state of California, the entire nation for, the better part of 25 years. Credit, San Mateo for coming up with a victory, but Justin Allenbaugh is going to get that team back and they'll win a whole lot of games this year.
Yeah, Coach Walsh at Serra up north has done a wonderful job. It's taken him years to build the program to that level, and now he's a constant. He's beaten both Folsom and De La Salle in the first couple of weeks. They were very close games. You look at the margins for Serra up north, they only have a combined more points than their opponents by like 5 or 6, but they won both games, and that's all that really counts. So they've really got it going. They've won 2 tremendous games, and they're obviously going to be they're going to be the #1 seed come playoff time up north. So congratulations down here. But you're like me, right, with the final couple minutes, your thoughts, what Mater Dei has accomplished, winning 2 games against national powers on the road. Sensational accomplishment, and St. John Bosco winning their big games early in the season. They've completely separated from the rest, and it figures to come down to them playing for the CIF Southern Section D1 title, correct?
Okay. I can't argue with you because we all know it's true. They've just got more. They have talent. We know that. But Mission Viejo's got talent. Long Beach Poly has talent. All of these teams have talent. What Bosco and Mater Dei have more than everybody is depth. And they've got depth. They go 2-3 guys deep at some positions. And it's not like they're putting me in the game at second string. They're putting in a guy that's going to a major Division I college in the game after, they need to sub guys out.
If they put you in the game, they probably have a very good result. I've seen you block, and you do a very nice job.
No, I can't even block people on Twitter.
Well, you need to work on that because you got to finish that block. I want to thank Coach Machuca at Chaminade and Coach Parral at Roosevelt. We had a few bugs. Machuca worked out beautifully. His feed was wonderful. But for Coach Aldo Parral at Roosevelt, we had a little bit of trouble. But he's having a great year. They're 3-0. Got a tough game tomorrow against Dorsey. But, hey, the way the Riders are playing, they're scoring a lot of points. They're averaging close to 50 points a game. We wish them well. Tony Moskal, thank you for coming aboard. I love the fact that you drove to the house after teaching a class. Come on and save the night. Some great commentary. We sincerely appreciate it.
Randy, it's always my pleasure. Anytime you need me, just give me a call.
Call collect. Okay, for Tony Moskal, I'm Randy Rosenbloom, our entire LA 36 crew. Tarek Fatah will be back next week. next Thursday night at 9 o'clock for another version of SoCal Prep Report. We'll see you then. Until then, good night, everybody.